Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock, Drogheda. I've visited many African countries over the years, but one I've never visited is the Ivory Coast, or Côte d'Ivoire. And the city of Yamoussoukro is supposed to be something quite special. Apparently the first president there, it was his hometown. And basically out there in the middle of nowhere, he built this massive palace. He built a huge church, which at the time was the biggest church in the world. He had a 7-story convention center, a golf course, and when he was buried buried there in those lands, surrounded by a lake full of crocodiles. And there was a guy given the job of feeding the crocodiles. The guy's name was Diko Toki. And for years, he would go every day and feed the crocodiles. Quite a crowd would come and watch him doing it. By all accounts, it was quite a spectacle. I mean, these were huge crocodiles, but he would go out there with bags of dismembered chickens and a machete, and he would basically take out the chickens and he would chop them up and throw bits to the different crocodiles. He called them all by name. He would pose for photographs with them. He'd pull their tails. He'd carry a machete with him. If the crocodiles got a bit too close, he'd wave the machete or give them a tap, and they would back off. And this went on for many, many years. Now, he was getting close to the end of his career, getting due to retire, and he went out to feed the crocodiles one evening. It was the end of Ramadan, when he had been fasting as a Muslim, and also he was wearing long robes, ceremonial robes, and he was out there doing his usual stuff with all the crocodiles. And as he jumped over one of the crocodile turned and grabbed his robe. And he tried to slash at it with the machete, but fell on the ground. And immediately another crocodile came over and grabbed him and took him out into the lake. And that was it. He was eaten. He was never seen again. Now, I was thinking about that. And I thought, what an amazing illustration of what happens whenever we play around with sin. You know, very often we tolerate sin in our lives. We tolerate it even in churches sometimes. And we get used to it. And we think we've got away with it. And yeah, we know that sin's dangerous and deadly and the wages of sin is death and all of that. But you know what? We just get used to it. And other people see that. And we see people who are living in sin, living with sinful situations, and they get away with it. And they appear to prosper. But you know what? Sin is still not any less deadly, even if we've been habitually getting used to it over a period of time. Diko Toki, he had got used to those crocodiles. He saw them as his friends. He had the names for them. He posed for photographs with them, everything else. But they were still deadly. And they didn't stop being deadly just because he put on a bit of a show with them. And eventually they killed him. In the same way that you need to keep respect for the dangers from a crocodile, we need to keep respect for the dangers that sin can cause to us. We've got no business playing with sin as Christians. We've no business covering it up with nice names. We've no business in thinking that we can tolerate sin in our lives and we will still prosper because we know other people who did it and got away with it. We need to pursue the Lord. We need to pursue holiness. And we need to be so aware of the dangers of sin that we will not play games with it. Otherwise, like Diko Toki, we might end up being consumed by the very thing that we thought was entertaining. Thank you for joining us for this Take 5. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock, Drogheda.